When a billionaire mocked his maid's daughter for daring to question his empire, he didn't know she held the key to saving his fortune and his soul. What started as an insult turned into a revelation that changed everything. Watch till the end. This story will make you believe in fate, wisdom, and miracles born from the most unexpected hearts. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more heart-stopping emotional stories that will leave you breathless. The rain lashed violently against the windows of the Kellenworth mansion, lightning slicing through the sky like furious veins of fire, as Alexander Kellenworth, the youngest self-made billionaire in the city, stared at the crumbling stock charts flashing red across his massive LED wall, his empire trembling beneath the weight of invisible chaos, and for the first time in years, fear slithered through his veins like a serpent whispering ruin. His coffee sat cold on the mahogany desk, untouched, while outside his office, quiet footsteps echoed in the marble hall. Soft, hesitant, and belonging to someone who didn't belong there. Lily, the maid's daughter, barely 20, clutching a tattered notebook to her chest as if it contained her heart. Her mother, Marisol, had served the Kellenworths for years, humble, loyal, invisible, and tonight, Lily had come not as a servant's child but as a silent observer who had seen too much from the corners where no one looked. Alexander didn't notice her at first. His phone kept buzzing with desperate calls from board members, lawyers, and banks, voices trembling, deals collapsing, numbers bleeding red. And the once arrogant titan who owned fleets of companies and a tower that scraped the heavens now looked like a drowning man clinging to the illusion of control, until Lily's soft voice pierced through the storm of his thoughts like a bell in the fog. "Sir, you're about to go bankrupt." The words froze him. For a second, he didn't breathe. Then laughter, harsh, mocking, disbelieving, escaped his lips as he turned to face her, the child he remembered running barefoot in his gardens. "What did you just say?" he demanded, his tone sharp as glass. "You're making a mistake," Lily said again, clutching her notebook tighter. "Your investments, the offshore accounts, the partnerships with Arcton Dynamics, they're traps. Someone's setting you up to fail." Alexander's jaw clenched. He was used to being challenged by men in suits, not by a maid's daughter with trembling hands. "And what would you know about international finance?" he sneered. But Lily didn't flinch. Her eyes were calm, almost hauntingly certain. "I study economics at night, sir," she whispered, her voice steady despite his scorn. "I analyze patterns, numbers, the kind you don't see because you trust the wrong people. You think your empire's falling because of the market, but it's falling because someone inside your company wants it to." Alexander's laughter died slowly, curiosity flickering behind his disbelief. "You're accusing my board of treason," he said coldly. "I'm not accusing," Lily replied softly. "I'm showing you the truth." She opened her notebook, pages filled with complex charts, hand-drawn graphs, and coded transactions traced back to hidden shell corporations. "Your CFO, Mr. Harrington, is siphoning funds through secondary subsidiaries under the guise of project expansions. He's been moving money offshore for months, and when your next audit hits, you'll be exposed for fraud you didn't commit." The room seemed to tilt. For a long time, Alexander didn't speak, his mind reeling through memory, meetings, contracts he hadn't read line by line. The storm outside intensified, a mirror of the storm inside him. "That's impossible," he murmured, though the tremor in his voice betrayed doubt. Lily stepped closer, her courage radiant. "You trusted him because he called you his friend," she said gently. "But friendship means nothing to those who worship greed." Hours later, long after she left his office, Alexander couldn't sleep. He replayed her words again and again, until finally, with a sense of dread and defiance, he opened his company's private database, something only he and Harrington had access to, and there it was, coded patterns matching Lily's notes exactly. His blood ran cold. The betrayal was real. The empire he'd built from scratch was collapsing from within, poisoned by the very man he'd trusted most. Shock turned to fury, then to guilt, because it wasn't just his company at stake, it was the livelihoods of thousands. The next morning, as dawn spilled pale gold across the skyline, Alexander summoned Harrington. The confrontation was brutal. "You think you can prove anything?" Harrington sneered, too confident, too rehearsed, but Alexander had already recorded everything, traced every transaction. Within hours, Federal investigators were swarming his offices, and Harrington's smirk vanished under the weight of handcuffs. The press erupted. Billionaire exposes internal sabotage. Company saved from collapse. But beneath the headlines, Alexander couldn't forget the voice that had saved him, the maid's daughter who had seen what the world's brightest men had missed. Days later, he found Lily in the mansion's library, quietly dusting shelves. "You were right," he said simply. She turned, startled. "I only wanted to help," she replied. He studied her for a moment, seeing her differently now, not as the help's child, but as someone extraordinary. "Why didn't you tell me before?" he asked. She hesitated. "Because people like me aren't supposed to tell people like you how to run their world." Her words hit him harder than any boardroom betrayal. From that day forward, everything changed. Alexander offered her a position, assistant analyst in his corporate division, but Lily refused. "I don't want a job from pity," she said quietly. "If you really believe in what I can do, let me earn it." Impressed by her dignity, he agreed, and over the next months, Lily's insights reshaped the company's structure, rooting out corruption, stabilizing investments, and building ethical reforms that shocked the business world. Slowly, Alexander's icy heart began to thaw, not out of romance, but respect, admiration, and something deeper, gratitude. But then, the first twist came. One evening, Lily disappeared. Her resignation letter was short, almost cryptic. "I've done what I came to do. Don't look for me." Alexander was furious and confused. Days turned into weeks, and then he received a letter. No return address, just a faint perfume that reminded him of the mansion's kitchen. Inside was a single document, the deed to an orphanage in the poorest district of the city, purchased in his company's name by someone anonymous. Lily's scholarship records revealed she'd grown up there before her mother became his maid. She hadn't just saved his company, she'd used her earnings to save the children who were once her family. Alexander was humbled. He visited the orphanage secretly, and when he found her teaching a group of barefoot children about numbers, his chest tightened. "You could have been anything," he said softly. She smiled. "I am," she replied. "I'm making sure no child grows up thinking they're invisible." But fate wasn't done twisting the knife. Months later, a major competitor launched a hostile takeover, Arcton Dynamics again, the same company that had conspired with Harrington before. This time, they targeted Lily's orphanage indirectly, manipulating zoning laws to seize the land. When Alexander discovered it, he fought back fiercely, but the war drained his finances again. During a heated press conference, he publicly declared, "If protecting this orphanage means I lose everything, then let it be so. Because she once saved me when no one else dared." The media exploded. Public support surged. Investors returned not for profit, but for loyalty to a man who finally had a soul. Yet even as the empire rebuilt, tragedy struck again. Lily collapsed one evening at the orphanage, exhaustion and an untreated heart condition catching up to her. The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and sorrow. Alexander sat beside her, his usual armor of arrogance gone. "You can't leave," he said, voice trembling. She smiled weakly. "You don't need saving anymore, sir." He gripped her hand. "That's not true," he whispered. "You taught me that value isn't in money, it's in people. In kindness." Her eyes glimmered with tears. "Then promise me," she said faintly, "you'll never let greed blind you again." He nodded, his throat burning. "I promise." She closed her eyes, and for a moment he thought he'd lost her, but a miracle happened. Her heartbeat steadied. Doctors rushed in, calling it unexplainable. Alexander called it grace. Months later, Lily recovered fully. Alexander created a new division in his company called the Lily Foundation, funding education for underprivileged children worldwide. During the inauguration, he told the world, a maid's daughter saved a billionaire, not just from bankruptcy, but from himself. The crowd rose in applause, but for Alexander, the true victory was quieter. The day Lily walked into his office as his equal, her name engraved on the company's leadership plaque. "You believed in numbers," he said, smiling. "But I believe in you." She laughed softly. "Then we'll both stay rich, in the right way." Years later, when the story of the billionaire and the maid's daughter became legend, people said it was a tale of fate, wisdom, and redemption. But for Alexander, it was a reminder that miracles wear humble faces, and sometimes, the one who warns you, you'll go bankrupt. isn't predicting your downfall. They're saving your soul.